Photograph a historic site, help Wikipedia, and win a prize. Participate in the world's largest photography competition this month. Learn more. Narratology. 42 languages. For the ludology versus narratology debates of cultural meaning in video games, see Game Studies Ludology vs Narratology. Narratology is the study of narrative and narrative structure and the ways that these affect human perception. 1. The term is an anglicization of French narratology, coined by Tsvetan Todorov. Grammaire du Decameron, 1969. 2. Its theoretical lineage is traceable to Aristotle, Poetics, but modern narratology is agreed to have begun with the Russian formalists, particularly Vladimir Prop. Morphology of the Folk Tale, 1928, and Mikhail Bakhtin's theories of heteroglossia, dialogism, and the chronotope first presented in the Dialogic Imagination, 1975. Cognitive narratology is a more recent development that allows for a broader understanding of narrative. Rather than focus on the structure of the story, cognitive narratology asks how humans make sense of stories and how humans use stories as sense-making instruments. 3. Defining narrative, edit. See also, narrative and plot, narrative. Structuralist narratologists like Roman Keenan define narrative fiction as the narration of a succession of fictional events. 4. Cognitive narratologists focus on how people experience something as narrative rather than on the structure of the text itself. The 6-word story for sale, baby shoes, never worn, is often given as an example that would not qualify as a narrative in the strictly structural approach, but that evokes a sense of narrative. Marie-Laure Ryan distinguishes between a narrative as an object that can be clearly defined and the quality of narrativity, which means being able to inspire a narrative response. 5. This allows her to understand video games as possessing narrativity without necessarily being conventional narratives. Astrid Enslin builds upon this, explaining that games have the potential to evoke multiple, individualized narrative scripts through world building, causal event design, character development and other elements that players interact with the intention to solve problems and make progress. 6. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. History, edit. The origins of narratology lend to it a strong association with the structuralist quest for a formal system of useful description applicable to any narrative content, by analogy with the grammars used as a basis for parsing sentences in some forms of linguistics. This procedure does not, however, typify all work described as narratological today. Percy Lubbock's work in Point of View, The Craft of Fiction, 1921, offers a case in point. 7. In 1966, a special issue of the journal Communications proved highly influential, becoming considered a program for research into the field and even a manifesto. 8. 9. It included articles by Roland Barthes, Claude Brumond, Gerard Genette, Algirdas Julian Graemers, Tsvetan Todorov and others, which in turn often referred to the works of Vladimir Prop. 8, 9, 1895-1970. Jonathan Culler, 2001, describes narratology as comprising many strands, implicitly united in the recognition that narrative theory requires a distinction between story, a sequence of actions or events conceived as independent of their manifestation in discourse, and discourse the discursive presentation or narration of events. 10. The Russian formalists first proposed such a distinction, employing the couplet fabula and sujet. A subsequent succession of alternate pairings has preserved the essential binomial impulse, for example, history/discourse, history/recit, story/plot. The structuralist assumption that one can investigate fabula and sujet separately gave birth to two quite different traditions: thematic, prop, Bremand, grammars, Duns, et al., and modal, Janet, Prince, et al., narratology. 11. The former is mainly limited to a semiotic formalization of the sequences of the actions told, while the latter examines the manner of their telling, stressing voice, point of view, the transformation of the chronological order, rhythm, and frequency. Many authors, Sternberg, 1993, 12, Ricoeur, 1984, and Barony, 2007, 13, have insisted that thematic and modal narratology should not be looked at separately, especially when dealing with the function and interest of narrative sequence and plot. Applications, edit. Designating work as narratological is to some extent dependent more on the academic discipline in which it takes place than any theoretical position advanced. The approach is applicable to any narrative, and in its classic studies, vis-a-vis prop, non-literary narratives were commonly taken up. Still, the term narratology is most typically applied to literary theory and literary criticism, as well as film theory and, to a lesser extent, film criticism. Atypical applications of narratological methodologies would include socio-linguistic studies of oral storytelling, William Leboff, and in conversation analysis or discourse analysis that deal with narratives arising in the course of spontaneous verbal interaction. It also includes the study of video games, graphic novels, the infinite. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Canvas, and narrative sculptures linked to topology and graph theory. 14, however, constituent analysis of a type where naremes are considered to be the basic units of narrative structure could fall within the areas of linguistics, semiotics, or literary theory. 15. In New Media, edit. Digital media theorist and Professor Janet Murray theorized a shift in storytelling and narrative structure in the 20th century as a result of scientific advancement in her 1998 book Hamlet on the Holodeck, The Future of Narrative in Cyberspace. Murray argues that narrative structures such as the multinarrative more accurately reflected post-Einstein physics and the new perceptions of time, process, and change, than the traditional linear narrative. The unique properties of computers are better suited for expressing these limitless, intersecting stories or cyberdramas. 16. These cyberdramas differ from traditional forms of storytelling in that they invite the reader into the narrative experience through interactivity, i.e. hypertext fiction and web soap The Spot. Murray also controversially declared that video games, particularly role-playing games and life simulators like The Sims, contain narrative structures or invite the users to create them. She supported this idea in her article Game Story to Cyberdrama, in which she argued that stories and games share two important structures: contest and puzzles. 17. Electronic literature and cybertext, edit. Development and exclusive consumption of digital devices and interactivity are key characteristics of electronic literature. This has resulted in varying narrative structures of these interactive media. Nonlinear narratives serve as the base of many interactive fictions, sometimes used interchangeably with hypertext fiction. The reader or player plays a significant role in the creation of a unique narrative developed by the choices they make within the story world. Stuart Moulthrop's Victory Garden is one of the first and most studied examples of hypertext fiction, featuring 1,000 lexias and 2,800 hyperlinks. 18. In his book Cybertext, Perspectives on Ergodic Literature, Espen Aarseth conceived the concept of cybertext, a subcategory of ergodic literature, to explain how the medium and mechanical organization of the text affects the reader's experience. When you read from a cybertext, you are constantly reminded of inaccessible strategies and paths not taken, voices not heard. Each decision will make some parts of the text more, and others less, accessible, and you may never know the exact results of your choices, that is, exactly what you missed. 19. The narrative structure or game worlds of these cybertexts are compared to a labyrinth that invites the player, a term Aarseth deems more appropriate than the reader, to play, explore and discover paths within these texts. Two kinds of labyrinths that are referenced by Aarseth are the unicursal. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF labyrinth, which holds one single, winding path that leads to a hidden center, and the multi-cursal labyrinth, synonymous with a maze, which is branching and complex with the path and direction chosen by the player. These concepts help to distinguish between ergodic, unicursal, and non-ergodic literature, multi-cursal. Some works such as Vladimir Nabokov's Pale Fire have proven to potentially be both depending on the path the reader takes. 20. Theorists, edit. Art critic and philosopher, Arthur Danto, refers to the narrative as describing two separate events. 21. Narrative is also linked to language. The way a story can be manipulated by a character or in the display of medium contributes to how a story is seen by the world. 22. Narratology, as defined by Shlomi Thurman Keenan, is a branch of narrative theory. The concept of narratology was developed mainly in France during the 60s and 70s. 22. Theorists have argued for a long time about the form and context of narratology. 5. American psychologist Robert Sternberg argued that narratology is structuralism at variance with the idea of structure. This basis goes with the French-American belief that narratology is a logical perversion, meaning that it followed a course that at the time did not seem logical. 23. Another theorist, Peter Brooks, sees narrative as being designed and having intent, which is what shapes the structure of a story. 24. Narrative theorist Roland Barthes argues that all narratives have similar structures and in every sentence, there are multiple meanings. 24. Barthes sees literature as writerly text which does not need a typical plot that has a beginning, middle, and end. Instead, written work has multiple entrances and exits. 24. Theorist Grellemers agrees with other theorists by acknowledging that there is a structure in narrative, and set out to find the deep structure of narrativity. However, in his findings, Grellemers says that narratology can be used to describe phenomena outside of the written word and linguistics as a whole. He establishes a connection between the physical form of something and the language used to describe that something, which breaks the structural code that many other theorists base their research on. 24. See also, edit. Digital storytelling. Dramatica theory of story structure, software. Focalization. Narrative. Narrative criticism. Narrative structure. NARIM as the basic unit of structural narratology. Post-structuralism. Storytelling. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Suspense. Notes, edit. 1. General Introduction to Narratology, College of Liberal Arts, Purdue University. 2. Gerald Prince, Narratology, Johns Hopkins Guide to Literary Theory and Criticism, ed. Michael Groden and Martin Creasworth, Baltimore, Johns Hopkins Up, 1994, 524. 3. Herman, David, 2003. Narrative Theory and the Cognitive Sciences. Stanford, Carliff, CSLI. Publications. P12. ISBN 1-57586-467-3. OCLC 52806071. 4. Roman Keenan, Shlomith, 1983. Narrative Fiction, Contemporary Poetics. London, Routledge. P2. 5. A. B. Ryan, Marie-Laure, 2005. Narrative. In Herman, David, John, Manfred, Ryan, Marie-Laure. eds. Routledge Encyclopedia of Narrative Theory. London, Routledge. ISBN 0-415-28259-4. OCLC 5636739. 6. Enslin, Astrid, 2022. Video Games as Complex Narratives and Embodied Metalepsis. In Dawson. Paul, Makler, Maria, eds. The Routledge Companion to Narrative Theory. Routledge. Do. 10.4324/9781003100157. ISBN 9781003100157. S2 SID 249112029. 7. The Project Gutenberg eBook of the Craft of Fiction, by Percy Lubbock. www.gutenberg.org. Retrieved the 22nd of May, 2020. 8. A. B. Herman, David and John, Manfred and Ryan, Marie-Laure, 2005, Routledge Encyclopedia of Narrative Theory, pp.5745. 9. A. B. Bamberg, Michael G. W. 1998, Oral Versions of Personal Experience, 3 Decades of Narrative Analysis. A special issue of the Journal of Narrative and Life History, 40p, dead link. 10. Jonathan Culler, The Pursuit of Signs, Semiotics, Literature, Deconstruction, Routledge Classics ed. London, Routledge, 2001, 189. 11. Ruth Ronan, Paradigm Shift in Plot Models, An Outline of the History of Narratology, Poetics Today. 11, 481782, Winter 1990. 12. Sternberg, Expositional Modes and Temporal Ordering in Fiction, Bloomington, Indiana Up. 1993. 13. Raphael Barani, L'Attention Narrative. Suspense, Curiosité Surprise, Paris, Seuil, 2007. 14 Felix Lambert, 2015, Narrative Sculptures, Graph Theory, Topology and New Perspectives in Narratology. 15 Henry Whitman, Theorie des Narrems et Algorithmes Narratifs Poetics 4.1, 1975-1928. 16 Murray, Janet Horowitz, 1997. Hamlet on the Holodeck. Internet Archive. Free Press. ISBN 9780684827230. 17 Murray, Janet, 1 May 2004. From Game Story to Cyberdrama. Electronic Book Review. Retrieved 8 December 2019. 18 Enslin, Astrid, 2 May 2010. Victory Garden. Electronic Literature Directory. Retrieved 8 December 2019. 19 Arsith, Espen, 1997. Cybertext, Perspectives on Ergodic Literature. Baltimore, M.D., Johns Hopkins University Press. P3. ISBN 0-8018-5578-0. OCLC 36246052. 20 Arsith 1997, pp. 5-8. 21 Danto, A.C. 1973. Analytical Philosophy of Action. United Kingdom, Cambridge University Press. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. 22 A.B. Keenan, Shlomith, 1989. How the Model Neglects the Medium, Linguistics, Language, and the Crisis of Narratology. The Journal of Narrative Technique. 19, 1157166. JSTOR 302252242. 23 Darby, David, 2001. Form and Context, An Essay in the History of Narratology. Poetics Today. 22. 4829852. 10.1202-03335372-22-4-829. S2 SID 10576774. Project Muse 27881. 24 ABCD Feluga, Dino. Modules on Brooks, on Plotting. Introductory Guide to Critical Theory. Date of last update, which you can find on the home page. Purdue date you accessed the site. http://www. purdue.edu/guide-to-theory/narratology/modules/brooksplot.html. References, edit. Abbott, H. Porter. The Cambridge Introduction to Narrative. Cambridge UP, 2008. Ball, Meek. Narratology, Introduction to the Theory of Narrative. 4th edition, Arig 1985. U of Toronto Press, 2017. Ball, Meek, ed. Narrative Theory, Critical Concepts in Literary and Cultural Studies. 4 vols. London, Routledge, 2004. Baths, Roland, W. Caser, W.C. Booth, P.H. Hammond. Poétique du Récit. Editions du Seuil. Paris, 1977. Bordwell, David. Narration in the Fiction Film. Madison, U of Wisconsin Press, 1985. Bortolussi, Marissa and Peter Dixon. Psychonarratology, Foundations for the Empirical Study of Literary Response. Cambridge, Cambridge UP, 2003. Brumond, Claude. Logique du récit. Paris, Seuil, 1973. Dawson, Paul, Maria Makler, eds. The Routledge Companion to Narrative Theory. London. Routledge, 2022. Defina, Anna, Alexandra Georgikopoulos, eds. The Handbook of Narrative Analysis. Wiley. Balquill, 2015. Emmett, Catherine. Narrative Comprehension, A Discourse Perspective. Oxford, Oxford UP. 1997. Fludernick, Monica. Towards a Natural Narratology. London/New York, Routledge, 1996. Fludernick, Monica. Introduction to Narratology. London/New York, Routledge, 2009. Janet, Gerard, 1972. Narrative Discourse, An Essay in Method. Ithaca, Cornell UP, 1980. Grishakova, Marina, Marie-Laure Ryan, eds. Intermediality and Storytelling. Berlin, De Gruyter. 2010. Grishakova, Marina, Maria Puleki, eds. Narrative Complexity, Cognition, Embodiment. Evolution. Lincoln, U of Nebraska Press, 2019. Herman, David, ed. Narratologies. New Perspectives on Narrative Analysis. OSU Press, 1999. Herman, David. Story Logic, Problems and Possibilities of Narrative. University of Nebraska Press, 2004. Herman, David. Basic Elements of Narrative. Whyler Blackwell, 2009. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Herman, David. Storytelling and the Sciences of Mind. MIT Press, 2017. Herman, David. Narratology Beyond the Human, Storytelling and Animal Life. Oxford UP, 2018. Herman, David, Manfred John, Marie-Laure Ryan, eds. Routledge Encyclopedia of Narrative Theory. 2005. Hahn, Peter, John Peer, Wolf Schmid, and Georg Skonert, eds. Handbook of Narratology. Berlin. De Gruyter, 2009. Kearns, Michael. Rhetorical Narratology. Lincoln, Nebraska UP, 1999. Meister, Jan Christoph. Computing Action. A Narratological Approach. Berlin, De Gruyter, 2003. Page, Ruth. Stories and Social Media, Identities and Interaction. London, Routledge, 2012. Page, Ruth. Narratives Online, Shared Stories in Social Media. Cambridge UP, 2018. Phelan, James, and Peter J. Rabinowitz. A Companion to Narrative Theory. Malden, Blackwell. 2005. Phelan, James, and Peter J. Rabinowitz. Understanding Narrative. Columbus, OSU Press. 1994. Phelan, James, David Herman, and Brian McHale, eds. Teaching Narrative Theory. New York. MLA Publications, 2010. Phelan, James. Experiencing fiction, judgments, progressions, and the rhetorical theory of narrative. Columbus, OSU Press, 2007. Phelan, James. Living to Tell About It, A Rhetoric and Ethics of Character Narration. Ithaca. Cornell Up, 2005. Phelan, James. Narrative as Rhetoric, Technique, Audiences, Ethics, Ideology. Columbus, OSU Press, 1996. Phelan, James. Reading People, Reading Plots, Character, Progression, and the Interpretation of Narrative. Chicago, University of Chicago Press, 1989. Prince, Gerald. A Grammar of Stories. Berlin, Mouton, 1973. Prince, Gerald. Narratology, The Form and Functioning of Narrative. Berlin, Mouton, 1982. Prince, Gerald. A Dictionary of Narratology. Lincoln, U of Nebraska Press, 1987. Ruman Keenan, Shlomith. Narrative Fiction, Contemporary Poetics. London, Routledge, 1989. Ryan, Marie-Laure, ed. Narrative Across Media, The Languages of Storytelling. Lincoln, U of Nebraska p. 2004. Ryan, Marie-Laure. Avatars of Story. University of Minnesota Press, Series Electronic. Mediations, 2006. Ryan, Marie-Laure. Possible Worlds, Artificial Intelligence and Narrative Theory. Bloomington, Indiana Up, 1991. Ryan, Marie-Laure, Alice Bell, eds. Possible Worlds Theory and Contemporary Narratology. U of Nebraska Press, 2019. Shklovsky, Victor. Theory of Prose. Russian 1925. Dalkey Archive Press, 1991. Schmidt, Wolf. Element der Narratology. Berlin, De Gruyter, 2005. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF. Stanzel, Franz K. 1979. A Theory of Narrative. Cambridge, Cambridge Up, 1984. Thomas, Bronwyn. Narrative, The Basics. London, Routledge, 2015. Tulin, Michael. Narrative, A Critical Linguistic Introduction. London, Routledge, 2001. Warhol, Robin, Susan S. Lancer, eds. Narrative Theory Unbound, Queer and Feminist. Interventions. Columbus, OSU Press, 2015. External links, edit. Musical Narratology by William Echard, Review of a Theory of Musical Semiotics by Eero Tarasti, foreword by Thomas Sabirk. 5 Analyses of the Narrative I First Got Paid. Narrative Theory Bibliography, a bibliography of literary theory, criticism and philology. Narratology, a guide to the theory of narrative by Manfred Jahn. Narratology, the study of story structure. Story systems. The Living Handbook of Narratology. The Narrative Act, Wittgenstein and Narratology by Henry MacDonald. Categories: Narratology, Literature, Television, Film Theory. Explore our developer-friendly HTML to PDF API printed using PDF Crowd HTML to PDF.